Ah, there you are. Good evening, darlings, and a very warm welcome. The warmest of welcomes to Thursday Night Live with me, who's going to be you know, who's going to be rattling at you virtually incessantly for the next 59 minutes. And, excuse me. First up, many thanks to Rob Hedgehog uh, for the lovely bottle of wine that I'm about to get outside of, and it really is very nice indeed. Good choice, sir. Uh, that's fabulous, and I hope your days have been as pleasant and productive as mine. I've got loads of stuff to tell you about, but right, let's see who I've got. Jimmy Quinn. Good evening, Boaty. Good evening, Jimmy. Pingu's here. Sup, Boaty? How you doing, Pingu? Barry, that guy from City Alpha 5, wonderful. John Stoodley's here. Good evening, chat. Good evening, Boaty. And John's getting there slowly. Bit better today, less sickness, but still got a pounding head. Lord Stiff Upper Lip is right in our midst. Oh, hello. Hello. Hello, everyone. Made it to a live for once. And who said that? Barry Shitpeas. You know the rule. It's the law. All together now. 1, 2, 3. They call him Barry Shitpeas because he shits peas. Barry, good evening. It's been ages, mate. So good to have you back with us. Simone Hooked on Classics is here, says oi oi. Cheeseburger is here, of course. Evening all. John, pleased to read you're a little better. Indeed. James Wilson is here. Good evening, Boaty and all. How's everyone? And Cheeseburger's joined in. Well done. That is indeed why they call it. Neil is here, the fabulous Neil, aka the very nice man. Hello all. How are we on this fine night? It's not as cold tonight as it was last night, is it? That's a blessing. Oh, this should be a thing. This should be a thing, James Wilson. Well done. Well done, you. James has very wisely decided that we should have an official food for the live stream. And tonight's official food for the live stream is a pot noodle sandwich. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, darlings. I have, in my time, eaten a pot noodle sandwich. Not for about 30 years, but I have done it. I have done it. Mark is here, Bad Books. Good evening, all. Ashley Stewart is here, evening, all. Excellent. Oh, dear. Oh, and apparently, Mr. Shitpeas was expelling something somewhat larger than peas earlier on. Good evening, all, says Tricia Alderman. Splendid. Lovely. Hello, Tricia. 59 minutes. At least we get here on time, for God's sake. We're always waiting for you. Yeah, well, there's a delay. I pressed the button at 11 o'clock, but it doesn't come through for a while. Dan Peters is here. Good evening, all. How are you, Mr. Boaty? I'm jolly good, thank you. I've had a good day. I'm going to tell you all about it. Barry, I can't say his name. I can't say his whole name because then we have to sing it. You know, it's the law. I normally watch these lives after they've happened, but this is the first time I've been able to be on here live. And that's aimed at John, and he sincerely hopes that he's on the mend. So that's lovely. And Neil says, good on you, John. Get yourself right. And next time we do a meetup, I'll be the first to buy you a pint. And Barry says, I'm not terribly keen on pot noodles, although he didn't quite say it in those words. He was a little more forceful. You can read the comment for yourself. Right, I'm going to tell you all about today and the positive and productive things that have happened, both here and elsewhere. There's a lot to tell you about, so I won't talk too much nonsense tonight. He said, almost certainly lying. Under promise and over deliver. Oh, that lady I was telling you about yesterday that I was chatting with, she watched last night's live stream. She did. And then immediately blocked me on every channel imaginable. Oh, dear. You can't be. Oh, something else. Neil and Sophie. Whether Sophie's here or not, I don't know, but I'll address you both. That book that you bought me, which has been my toilet book, as I suggested it would be, I finished it today. Now, normally I would finish a book same day, but as I say, I had it as my toilet book, so it took a little bit longer. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And the ending is really quite poignant, and I shall think of that every time that I deal with a rover from 90 to 95. It's a superb book, and I would recommend you all to buy it and read it. And thank you very much to Neil and Sophie for giving me that pleasure as an early Christmas present. And it was an inspired gift, and I loved it. Anyway, Neil says you can't beat a Bombay bad boy and some crusty toast. Barry says, which celeb would you most want to punch in the face? Russell Brand. I would love to really badly beat up Russell Brand. You're not truly British, says James, if you don't tuck into a pot noodle. And then Cheeseburger says, I've never had a pot noodle, and I wasn't a student either. Chicken and mushroom is this stuff, says Black Lines. Oh dear, excuse me. Barry says, I had a pot noodle once. It was worse than depression. James says, yes, Black Lines. Chicken and mushroom is the best flavour, hands down. Andrew is here. Probably a flying visit, but good evening, Boaty and everyone. Good evening to you, sir. To Lamp One, says Barry, I'd choose either Will Ferrell or Lewis Hamilton. Can't stand either. What's wrong with Lewis Hamilton? He's lovely. You can't hit Lewis. Well, I mean, you could hit Lewis Hamilton, but you would be very, very unwise to hit Lewis Hamilton, because Lewis Hamilton is a black belt, karate black belt, third dan. And that means that if you lamped or tried to lamp Lewis Hamilton, he'd beat 7 bells out of you. So that is early video title from me. Oh, hang on, I've got to think of it now. Something about don't mess with Lewis Hamilton. He'll fuck you up. Oh dear. Cheeseburger says the lady doesn't appreciate Kendo Matasaki or hub cunt. Oh, I said the word. No loss. I agree. Jesus Christ, I've only got halfway through mine, says Neil. You must have something up with your guts. I'm just a really quick reader, Neil. Really, really quick reader. Barry says the carboy, he has a black belt in talk tech too. It was the noodles from Monday, says Cheeseburger. I didn't have noodles on Monday, did I? What did I have on Monday? No, I had Momo for lunch and hang on, what did I have Monday night? I'm buggered if I can remember. I was so hungover. God above. I haven't had noodles for ages. Like a week. I need some noodles in my life. Oh, and I've planned what I'm gonna have tomorrow, so otherwise I'd have I want noodles now. I love noodles. Cheap, super tasty, dead quick and easy to prepare. Oh, if any of you are sad singles like me and enjoy cooking or trying to cook, I've resurrected Dish of the Day over in Singles. So do remember Singles if you are single. Those noodles must have gone through him like a dose of salt. I didn't know Louis. Sir Lewis of Shamilton, says Barry. And Barry says, I have a black belt in Kung Fu. Let him try. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Does a black belt in karate beat a black belt in Kung Fu? I don't know. I don't know enough about them. But bear in mind that Lewis Hamilton is one of the fittest men on the planet. I like Lewis Hamilton. I like Lewis Hamilton, and it's probably because, I mean, it's the black brother thing, isn't it? I mean, remember that although I look white, I'm actually whatever you want to call it. I'm of Afro-Caribbean heritage. Well, partly anyway, mixed. So it's nice to see a brother doing well in a field where brothers haven't done so well. I mean, he's still the only black racing driver, isn't he? And he just happens to be the greatest of all time. You're not going to knock that. And he seems to me a perfectly nice bloke. I mean, his taste in fashion is piss poor, and I don't know what he's really like. I've never met the guy, and his media stuff is probably managed by a team, but I mean, he's an amazing racing driver. He uses his money and his influence, his position to do some good in various ways. And he's really kind to his brother who is disabled. So, I mean, what's to dislike about the guy? I've never heard him really say a bad word about anybody else. I don't see anything to dislike about him, to be fair. Plate of pure. Oh, I've just been mentioned on Instagram. Lewis Hamilton, says Cheeseburger. I would string him up by his gold chains. Excellent driver, but I'm not a fan. And that's not a lie, says Barry. So he really does have a black belt in Kung Fu. I can't stand Russell Brand either, says James. But then again, he's friends with my favourite musician, Noel Gallagher. Beside my other favourite musicians being the Beatles, Liam Gallagher, and plenty of others. I don't care who he's friends with. I would love to properly beat him up. Oh, God, I would really enjoy it. And I'm not condoning violence, even though it used to be a big part of my life. But Russell Brand, I'd make the exception. He's just such an absolute and utter disgrace of a human being, and I would love to fuck him up, properly fuck him up. Hamilton's nickname is #blessed, says Simone. Yeah, well, fair enough. Barry cannot stand Hubbo. Should be #bollocks, says Barry. God, there's a lot of hate for Hamilton. Oh, the noodles you cook for mustard you melt. I forgot about those. The only thing bigger than Hamilton's ego is his forehead. He's the greatest racing driver of all time. If he's not entitled to have a bit of ego, then who the bloody hell is? And let us not forget his greatest achievement. He set the fastest lap around the Top Gear track. You can't argue with that. He beat Richard Whiteley and Teddy Wogan and the Stig. Oh, that was John pinging me. God. I'm well out of touch, John. It's a long time since. Are they still a force to be reckoned with in Brum? I'm so out of touch with everything that goes on in Brum. I used to be, oh God, it sounds a bit mafioso, doesn't it? But I used to be connected. I used to know everybody in Brum and everybody who did everything. And now I wouldn't have a clue. Wouldn't have a clue. And also, I guess a lot of the people that I did know, I'm sure they've, left the building now, haven't they? I mean, Big Skin, Seamus, he must be gone. Seamus Dunleavy, for anybody who knew him back in the day. I imagine that they've all gone. Big Pat has gone. Pat Roach has gone. They'll all have. I remember the classic Welsh mining adverts for pot noodle. Fuel of Britain, isn't it? Oh, God, I don't remember those. I can't stand, says James. Wayne Rooney either. What an absolute moron. Oh, you did, John. Yes, I forgot. I completely forgot. Yeah. Oh, well. You were connected as well, weren't you, mate? Oh, that's right. I remember the story you told me now. Oh, and while we're on the subject of John, John, I don't know if his YouTube channel is brand new or if he's had it for a while, but John is one of our community YouTube channels. And as you know, we all support each other's channels. So, and John is obviously a big supporter of our community lives and no doubt your channels as well. So do give John's channel a like, because one of the things that he plans to do when he returns to reasonably full health is to start getting some content up. So I don't actually know what his channel is called because he didn't tell me. But John, do shout it out in the comments and I will mention it. So I will. Because you're a good chap. You're all nice people. Somebody was asking me about all of this. And I said, I can't really explain how how did it happen? And I said, I don't know. I've got no idea. I put a couple of crap videos up and suddenly all this has started happening. But I was just saying, I can't explain it. I just know that it's wonderful. There's an amazing community. They're all absolutely lovely, wonderful people. And all I can say is that I don't know how it happened, but I'm so glad it did. My life is enriched because of it and because of you lot. So there you go. I do talk about you, darlings. The channel is John_Stoodley on YouTube. So there you go. That's memorable. Michael Schumacher would like a word, says Barry. What, for being the greatest driver of all time? Well, he's a contender, but nah, Lewis. I was never a massive fan of Schumacher. Schumacher was too dirty. Now, I know that, and David Coulthard always says about this, I know to be utterly successful, you have to be utterly ruthless. I know that. I understand it. I used to be a bastard. Well, I was talking about business then, but certainly in sports, I was even more of a bastard. I was known as yeah. Best not. Best not say too much about that. Sprinting, especially road sprinting in cycling terms, is never an entirely clean discipline. But I was probably, if I'm honest, I was less clean than most. I was a better bike handler than 90% of people. And that enabled me to do things in a sprint, in a bunch sprint, that other people wouldn't try. And yeah, I will admit that I was a bit dirty. But no, I was never a massive fan of Schumacher. And I would put Lewis above Michael, quite honestly. Must go now. Have a fantastic night, everyone. Ta-ta for now, says Andrew. Thanks for popping in. Hamilton mixes politics and sport, same as Lineker. Well, is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing? Just because you're a sportsman and you have a platform as a sportsman, does that mean that you're not allowed a political opinion? And just because you have a platform, does that mean that you're obliged to keep your political opinion to yourself? Because I don't buy that. What's wrong with mixing sport and politics? Boris Johnson played tennis. Not very well, but he played tennis. So should politicians not be allowed to play any sport? Sebastian Coe was a sportsman, became a politician. Why can't they mix? I think everybody should be a political animal to some degree, and everybody should be to some degree invested in politics. Normally speaking, I've found that the people who complain the most about politicians are the people who know least about it and are the least invested in it. I mean, if somebody really goes on and on and on about the bloody Tories or about the bloody commie Labours, you can guarantee they don't vote. And, you know, I say everybody should have a political opinion. The people who don't vote, they shouldn't. They shouldn't be allowed one. They should have to shut up. And if they issue a political opinion, then they should have to pay a fine or be flogged with a leather belt. If you're not going to vote, shut up, basically, as far as I'm concerned. And don't give me they're all as bad as each other and all of that. We live in a democracy, so, you know, play your part in it. But I see no problem with Lewis Hamilton having political opinions or any other sportsman. Cheesy is a 10th down in shithousery. Well, I agree with that. Don't mention Lineker, says James. He's an absolute pillock and an overpaid idiot. Again, I mean, I understand, I might be wrong, but I think he's the highest paid person in the BBC. Right. How much of an idiot is he, really? He was a successful, well, he wasn't a successful sportsman. He was a footballer, and that's not a sport. He was a successful games player, and now he's the highest paid person on the BBC. Seriously, how much of an idiot can he be? Multimillionaires tend not to be idiots. I've known a lot of multimillionaires. None of them were idiots. They might have the occasional idiotic opinion, perhaps, but they were not idiots. You don't get to be a multimillionaire by being an idiot. You just don't. Scamilton, more hatred for Lewis. Simone says Scamilton was lucky. Look at the shit car he's in now. If he was the greatest of all time, he'd still be winning. Yes. Okay, well, yeah, let's look at the car he's in now. He is in a shit car, and he finished second in the championship, didn't he? Was he second? I think he was, wasn't he? He was second in the championship. So, in a shit car. So, yeah, let's look at this, Simone, if you want to go down that road. Now, obviously, Red Bull have got a car that is just head and shoulders above everybody else. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that Hamilton only ever won. Oh, he was third. Okay, thank you, John. Oh, that's right. Perez pipped him or something, didn't he? But so people said that Hamilton only ever won because he was in the best car, right? Bollocks, bollocks. The Red Bull is head and shoulders above everybody else, and Hamilton almost beat a Red Bull. Okay, it wasn't the one with Max in it; it was the one with Checo in it, but he was competitive with and almost beat him, and he beat both Ferraris, which were better cars. So, and again, back to Top Gear, when they all drove the same car, he was quicker than anybody else. He wasn't lucky. You make your own luck. I think he worked his ass off. He was in the best car for a while. He's had a couple of seasons where he's not in the best car, and he's still there and thereabouts. I mean, look at the difference between him and Seb Vettel. Now, Vettel was more arguably lucky, right car at the right time, and put him in a different car, and he's nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Same with, oh God, let's think, Ricardo. Um, Hamilton has, as far as I'm concerned, outdriven the car in the last couple of seasons. Hamilton isn't the greatest of all time, says Cheeseburger. The greatest of a generation. Okay. Hamilton only beat Mansell by a tenth around Top Gear. Yeah, but he beat him. A tenth is a long time in a Top Gear lap. And yeah, I mean, it is difficult to compare generations. I mean, if you're talking about the greatest of all time, Jim Clark is probably going to have quite a claim on it, and you can't compare them. But at least statistically, you can argue that Hamilton is the greatest of all time. James says, I think Schumacher is one of the greatest racing drivers, in my opinion. I used to like Hamilton, but don't dislike him either. He's all right except for the offshore bank accounts. What's wrong with offshore bank accounts? He lives in Monte Carlo. Why wouldn't he have an offshore bank account? Again, this is, any of you lot who say that, if I became insanely rich, I wouldn't employ any offshore bank accounts. I'd gladly pay over 60% or whatever it is to the government. Would you balls? You'd all do exactly the same. And you're hypocrites for criticising. Each and every one of you will do something to cheat when it comes to money. I guarantee it. Those of you that have to fill out a tax return, I guarantee you that you'll fiddle it a little bit. I think if Ayrton Senna was still here, there'd be a close contest in titles. Well, possibly, but he's not. Bless him, is he? Yeah. So you all fiddle it, I bet, or you fiddle your expenses at work, or you fiddle your benefits, or you've done a job for cash in hand now and then. You all have, because we all have, haven't we? Let's be honest. And if we all earned insane amounts of money, we would all have specialist accountants, and we would all have offshore bank accounts, and we would all live in Monte Carlo or the Isle of Man or the Channel Islands or something. Senna would have shown him a thing or two. Senna's famous quote is, "If you're not aiming for a gap in a race, you're no longer a racing driver." And you know, maybe. Pat Roach had a yard round the corner from my granddad's yard in Winson Green. They were friends, says Cheeseburger. Oh, and Cheeseburger has subscribed to John. Diddly-doo. Do you remember Hughie Campbell from Wolverhampton used to run the security in the doors? No, I don't, Neil, to be honest. Wolverhampton was probably, I don't know. No, I don't. I don't. The door crew that oh God, I mean, obviously, when I was a kid, then my dad ran the doors with Skin, with Seamus. Well, half of them. I mean, there was a lot of gang warfare in those days that my dad was involved in. In my day, it was well. In my day, it kind of changed a bit. Because it got a bit more, it was a bit less of a free for all. So you had your door guys, and then you had your hard guys, and they sort of separated a bit. Black Kenny was my guy, my bloke, our bloke. And the doors around where I was, it was Dicker's crew. Gosh, he was a big lump as well. Ever such a nice guy. Lovely guy. And it was Dicker who got me into working the doors. I really didn't want to do it. I was only a kid. And he said, "Oh, you look the part." just open the door, chat the birds up, and if anything kicks off, we'll deal with it. And I think it was, God, let me try and remember now. I think when I started, it was 30 quid a night and all you could drink, which, not a bad deal in my book. Well, Senna approved the lovely NSX, says James. But if you look at that MG EXE concept at Gaydon, you can see that Honda got the NSX from that. Did Senna approve the NSX? I mean, it was, oh God. Well, are we allowed to say this? The NSX was not a good car, was it? It was not a good car. I mean, it might have been well behaved at lower speeds so that your mother-in-law could drive it to the shops. But if you tried to drive it like a supercar, then much like Tiffany Dell did, you would end up going backwards through an advertising hoarding. The NSX wasn't a great car. Oh, Coulthard has driven the RB19 this week. Oh, I'd like to see that. Barry says, "I've been known to cheat to win." Quite right. But and the other Barry, Mr. Shitpeas, they call him Barry Shitpeas because he shits peas. Right, time for bed for me. We'll watch a live tomorrow as usual. Night, Boaty and all for now. Cheeseburger says, "Hamilton doesn't even pay UK tax. He shouldn't even have a knighthood, in my opinion." Well, he doesn't live in the UK. So why would he? Good evening, one and all, says Mark Prasad. "I feel that a lot of car manufacturers copied Rover," says James. What? I don't think any car manufacturers copied Rover. That's why they're still in business and Rover isn't. Like, for example, with the RDX 60, looks like Vauxhall literally got the idea of the Signum from that. but the RDX80 looks way cooler. Right, I've seen pictures of that knocking about on Facebook. I mean, it looks gopping. What a horrendous car. Clearly ripped off from other manufacturers. Clearly a really bad version of it. And if it had gone into production, then it would, Rover would have lasted not a second longer. Probably they would have gone to the wall shorter because they'd have put money into that heap of whatever. Oh, God. Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't get all of this incredible excitement over these concept cars and stuff being saved. I mean, it's not like it was worthwhile, is it? God above. I would back me against Hamilton in a political debate, says Cheeseburger. God. Neil says Vauxhall copied the whatever it is. BMW got the Mini, and that's what killed Rover. The money they put a lot of money into development and ended up with no product. Shall we address the elephant in the room? What ended Rover was the Phoenix 4 fraudulently sucking every single penny out of the company that they could. BMW did everything they could. They put money in, they put interest-free loans in, they gave Rover every chance. Let's not bugger about here and say it's because of, Rover failed because the management deliberately sucked every penny out of the company and then allowed it to go into bankruptcy. And that was probably their plan from the beginning. That's true, Cheeseburger. I remember that. Mansell swapped cars with Prost at Ferrari and beat Prost in Prost's car. Yeah, I mean, Mansell was an animal of a driver. I hate the guy, don't get me wrong. I cannot bear him, but he was a hell of a driver. Ugh. Oh, God, everybody's banging on about Rover now. Mark says, my eldest son has followed F1 from a very young age and loves motor racing. He's quite a cynic and would never blow some up, etc. But he thinks Lewis is one of the greatest, if not the greatest. Neil says, oh, right, we're talking about the 75 and BMW suppressing it. The 75 was too much of a competitor for the 3 Series, hence why they made it slower and not as quality feeling as the German rival. Really? Do you guys believe this? Cheeseburger says, if you are a multimillionaire, then it's gross that you don't pay your fair share of tax. What if you don't live here, Cheeseburger? Donald Trump is very rich. Should he be paying UK tax? Elon Musk is very rich. Should he be paying UK tax? God above. Oh dear. Good evening, all. Sorry I'm late, says Joe. Hello, Joe. Better late than never. But it says, I fiddle my timesheets when I work for Eon, and I'm proud of it. There you go. Told you. Dan says, Mr. Boaty, a question if I may. What does the Rover 45 V6 do MPG wise? I don't know, Dan. I've never dared measure it. On a run, I would guess high 20s, maybe 30. When you're poking it around, a lot less. That fuel needle doesn't half go down. Oh God, everybody's banging on about how the 75 should have been a BMW Beta. God. Okay, I'm sure you're right. Evening, Boatman, and the rest of the pack, says Steve Nisball. Uh, oh, okay. Neil says they did make a 4x4 ZTT. There was one prototype. I had the pleasure of working on it and having a drive in it when my old boss owned it. I didn't know that. My favourite Rover, says John, is the Rover ZTV8. What a great car. Uh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, Carlos is here and is pissed again. BMW shafted the 75 on launch day. Well, that much is true. Uh, Phoenix 4, says Cheeseburger. I used to deal with one of them. Not nice. They did bleed the company dry, but the writing was on the wall. Uh, oh, Mark says the Phoenix 4 should have gone to prison. Persuade me otherwise. So why does Lewis Hamilton park his plane in the Isle of Man when visiting the UK? I don't know, probably to avoid tax. The 75 is way better than an S series. God, there's some stuff going on here. Oh, finally, some sense. Cheeseburger says, James, there is a reason that BMW survived and Rover didn't. BMW built an aspirational car that new buyers wanted. Rover failed to do so over 30 plus years. Agreed? Mustard is very rich. Should he be paying UK tax? Mustard is not very rich. BMW were a load of rubbish. I'm not having that argument. Dreadful cars. BMW, load of rubbish, dreadful cars. Really? Come on. Right, let me finally tell you about today. Bloody hell, you sucked it out of me with all of that crap. Ugh. Let's not pretend that Rover was any more or less than it was towards the end. I mean, God, as much as we might love them now, let's be honest. I mean, God Almighty, just look at any of the facelifts, the 75, the 25, the 45, um, and look at the fact that they were rehashed of old models, and the old models were only any good because of Honda. I don't know. Yeah, I agree with that, actually, Carlos. Right, let me tell you about today. Moving away from the Rover, BMW, and everything else, and Lewis Hamilton argument. God, all the hatred for Lewis. James, thanks for telling me BMW are rubbish. I'll go and swap my 8 Series for a Montego in the morning. BMWs are not rubbish. BMWs are demonstrably not rubbish. Not by any way, shape, or form. I've not owned many BMWs. Um, I've had uh, I've had a 7 Series. I've had an 8 Series. I've had a couple of 6 Series, which I loved. Oh, I mean, drive an M5 and tell me that's rubbish, and then go and give your head a wobble. Oh, I had an M3 back in the day. I had a P-plate M3. That was a bloody revelation. Anyway, right. 15 minutes left. Let me tell you about today. God, I've forgotten what happened today now. I was feeling really positive until. um, right, some things to report. The new battery has arrived, was delivered today, has been fitted to Barney, and it has solved a lot of problems. So that's good. Um, I There's some other stuff. I covered that in the daily diary, so I won't do that here. Um, I've made a decision on Sir Richard and Lady Mollis's gramophone. Joe, you convinced me. He's going to keep the original, and I have arranged for a mobile car audio specialist to come out and fit Dick Dum Dum with a new aerial roof mount. Well, it's probably just going to be a whole new aerial because he needs both ends. He needs and not just the aerial thing, screw in thing. He needs the aerial base. And the aerial is broken at the other end, the bit that plugs into the stereo. So I remembered that I knew a guy who'd come out to me before and was really good. Gave him a ring. So he's going to come out and just fit a complete new thing to Dick Dum Dum. And he's going to keep his Becker stereo, Joe. You will be glad to hear. I know I argued with you on the comment, but you did convince me. So that's good. And I'm going to talk to him about Boo and getting him to sort all of the sound system on Boo, which should be amazing. Harman Kardon, top of the range. Sounds like shit because most of the speakers aren't working. All you've got is the subwoofer and I think one tweeter. So I'm going to ask him about trying to get all of that sorted. And the really positive stuff tonight was at the restaurant. Right, okay. So really positive news at the restaurant, and this I am excited about. Vishnu turned up tonight unexpectedly, and later on, his lovely wife Niru turned up as well. And between us, we installed a new bit of trickery. We've done some good work tonight. We have actually. Again, it's in the daily diary. I won't bore you with it too much. Um, but in fact, I'll gloss over that. But the good news is the flat is looks as if it's more likely than not to happen. And again, I've covered this in the daily diary, but it looks as if the flat is going to happen. And that's exciting. You lot got me so excited about it in that live stream the other night. And on Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, I will be getting the key and I will be filming a full guided tour about it so that we can all have a look and we can all make some plans and you lot can get involved. And I'm kind of super excited about that now. There's loads of stuff going on at the restaurant that I'm excited about. Video title: Does anyone want to swap a Montego? I was given an 850 BMW coupe with a V12, says Stephen S. Paul. I collect engines, so I'm ripping the thing apart over the weekend. This is my 20-something 850. Great engine, shit car. Yeah. There's a bit of love for Michael Jackson, Joe's little 25. And yeah, I love Michael Jackson too. Yeah, and the Becker unit, it is a posh unit, isn't it? Yeah. I did when I was thinking about that. I was just thinking that I can't sort the aerial, and I don't know anybody else who can. And then I suddenly remembered that I did used to know somebody, so I dug the number out, rang them up, and yeah, they're still going. And he's a brilliant guy, really professional, the right sort of age, really knows his stuff, doesn't take the piss on price. So I'll be getting him on the channel. You can bet that. So I'm really excited to be getting Dicker Dum Dum sorted, get the gramophone all sorted. I can still plug my phone in through my thing that I need to buy another one. This is a Jabra Cruiser, and it is brilliant. And I've only got one of them, and I live in fear of it breaking because it effectively turns an old stereo into a new stereo. Um, but the beautiful thing about this, I know that off eBay or Timu or whatever, I know that there are all of those FM transmitter things that plug into the cigarette lighter and do effectively the same job that this does. The difference with them is that A, they need to be plugged into the cigarette lighter, B, they're not really great quality, and C, they tend to fuck up your car's electrical system, as I learned and as Furious Driving learned. Whereas this is a brilliant bit of kit, quite expensive when it was new. It's independently powered. It's got a battery that'll last for about 3 days. Clips on your sun visor. Doesn't bugger your car up. Wonderful. This is the original one. If anybody knows anybody selling one of these, or there's one on Facebook Marketplace near you, buy it and I will give you the money for it. Or better still, this is the original Jabra Cruiser. If anybody knows of anybody selling or close to them selling a Cruiser 2, so much the better. I would love one of those. I'm always looking out for one. And this is what will make the difference with Dicker Dum Dum. But yeah, he's going to have his aerial repaired and he's going to have the original Becker unit, which is just, I mean, it's fantastic. But like a lot of things that were fantastic at the time, it's incredibly flawed. But the flaws make it all the more wonderful. It's like the Lamborghini of stereos. It's flawed, but it's wonderful. Oh, oh, thank you, Mark. A £1.99 super chat. And the message is Lewis Hamilton's success is well deserved. Message ends. Well, I agree, and bless you. Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate that. Um, so yeah, and if I can get him to sort the sound system on Boo as well, then brilliant. That's going to be the mission from now on. I'm not looking to buy any more cars or expand the fleet, which is a good job because I'm so poor, so skint, it's beyond belief. Um, but what I will be looking to do over the next year or two is to get them fettled, get them improved, get any issues sorted, and just get them all. I mean, if we forget Brian, and I have forgotten Brian, I'm not counting Brian as part of the fleet now because, quite honestly, I don't think that Brian is ever going to see the road again. I mean, quite apart from the things that laid him up and caused him to fail the MOT, now they can't start him. Um, I don't know exactly what they've tried, but they've given up. And two of them who know what they're doing just can't get him started. And so I think the chances are Brian is just fucked. He's had enough. He wants to go to Switzerland and end it all at Dignitas. He's had a hard life. He's been unloved. He's been abused, and he doesn't want any more of it. And I have to take my share of the blame. Uh, oh, Neil. I don't know. I've forgotten that we nicked one. Oh, I forgot that we nicked one. Oh, oh God, there's a thought. Oh, and they would never have thought to have looked at that, would they? Um, Gosh, I don't know. I can't remember what we. Sorry, Neil has just pinged me. Oh, what did we nick that for? Um, but yeah, I remember that we did it. God, that could be it. That could be it, Neil. Oh, yeah, and they would never think of that, would they? Why would you? You just wouldn't, especially when they were in a rush trying to get things sorted. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he hasn't. That's right, we did. Ah, interesting. Well, that'll give us something to do on Monday when I'm at the yard. I'll take one with me and see if that is the issue. And maybe, but anyway, I'm not counting Brian as part of the fleet for the moment, anyway. But I'm not going to give up on him. But aside from Brian, all of the fleet now, they're MOT'd, they're roadworthy, they're on the road, they're drivable, blah, blah, blah. So the job over the next year or two is to kind of solidify them, future-proof them, do all of the bits and pieces that need doing, get them up, because they've all got odds and sods that need doing, even if it's just the roof headlining or the aircon needing recharging, all the bits and pieces like that. I want to make them all absolutely lovely. And that's what I'm kind of doing with, starting to do with Dicka Dum Dum and the aerial. And I'm going to try and do with Miss Boo and again the gramophone. I'm kind of annoyed that it's Thursday because there's so much positive stuff that I wanted to talk about instead of beating up Lewis Hamilton. And I can't do it now. I'll have to do it in the daily diary. But I'm super excited about the flat again. I got really excited about the flat when you guys got me excited with all of your ideas and telling me that, I'm an idiot for not just thinking about moving in there and whatnot. And, it went in one ear and straight down to my soul. And I thought about it and I thought, you're right. But then, I wasn't sure how likely it was to even be a possibility. So I stopped myself from getting excited about it. But now I've spoken to Vishnu and I know what's going on, and I explain it all in the daily diary. Now I'm getting properly excited. So yeah, on Tuesday we'll get the key, we'll have a troop around there, and we will make some plans. I mean, that flat could be Airbnb, or it could be the absolute nerve center, hub center, meeting point, flop pad, party venue, and stopover venue for the Boaty's World community. Why not? It'd be brilliant for that. Oh, and oh God, it's time to go. Let's look at some comments. Right, I did that one. Oh, cheeseburger. James, let me have the Montego that does 0 to 60 in 4 seconds, tops out at 155 miles an hour, limited, and averages 40 mpg. Most Montegos can't even get the central locking to work. They were dustbins in 1984. Oh dear. Oh, a question for me. Do you like the Jaguar XF, asked Simone? Never driven one, never sat in one, never properly looked at one. I don't know. I mean, I probably would. I am a Jaguar man. I've owned hundreds of Jaguars and they all hated me. I've loved every Jaguar that I've owned, and every single one of them has hated me and tried to bankrupt me. Lost count of how many I've scrapped. But I do love a Jag, and I'm sure I would love an XF. Can't even think what they're like. What's the XF? Is it the XF that replaced the X-Type and the S-Type? One of the restaurant customers, they've got a his and hers matching pair, and they look fabulous. So I'm sure I'd love it. Simone, XF is a nice car, says Cheeseburger. Doesn't look like a Jag though. Mustard's turned up just in time for me to go. Hello, Mustard. I wonder if Mustard got the bit about that. I'll mention it to him, or I'll save it until Monday and we'll have a go. Well done, Neil, because I would never have remembered that in a million years. And I bet you that's the problem. I bet you that's the problem with Brian. I hope it is anyway, because that means that he's more imminently savable. And I have still got plans for Brian. I hope Brian can be saved. And he's going to have 16-inch hairpins. He's going to have the spoiler that Mustard has been saving for him. He's going to be all tricked out and made beautiful. Brian was a car that I planned to keep forever. I'm going to have to forget about everything else I wanted to tell you, darlings. As usual, things have taken a different turn. Oh, I hope we get a video from Mustard. We haven't had one for a while. Oh, God. Joe, I've never bought from Temu, so I can't comment. But I probably think the same way as you, and that's probably why I've never bought from them. Oh my God. God, there's some crap being talked here. Fucking hell. What a load of bollocks. Oh, Mark, bad books. Right, I'd forgotten about that. Neil, sorry, we're having a hidden conversation here. Neil pinged me about Brian and the possible reason why Mustard and Tom Turbot were unable to start him. We might have solved that problem. Thank God Neil has got a better memory than me. Oh, and Joe, you remembered as well. Gosh. Has Stigbert got roof bars? Asked Simone. No, is the answer to that. Carlos says, God, it's properly kicking off now. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh God. It's time we ended this before this gets out of hand. Oh dear, 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 dear. Sorry, I'm just reading this. Oh God. If you don't agree, just listen to Freedom by Paul McCartney. And Dan Peters has come out with the most sensible comment, night all. Good night, yeah, let's all say good night, darlings. This live stream has not gone the way it's planned. Oh God, I was feeling so positive. I'm going to need to do another one over the weekend because I've got so much stuff that I wanted to talk about and so much positivity to share, and it hasn't gone that way, which is fine. No problem. It's about you guys, not just about me. It just means I'm going to do another one. I'll have to do a live at lunchtime or a Friday or Saturday night live or something like that. Oh, I hate leaving you on a Thursday and not seeing you until Monday. Oh, hang on. Oh, hello. Right. Let's remember this if we remember nothing else. This is Neil. I'm coming up in January to spend 2 days in the yard. Both days are dedicated to getting that car, Brian, through his MOT. And I'm not leaving until he's got one. Neil, right. We're like that. Neil, my guest suite, either here or possibly in the new flat by then, is at your disposal. I will bring you food. I I think that's a lovely idea. Let's finally rescue Brian, and I'll do anything that I can, which quite honestly isn't much because, God knows I'm no help. But I can give you a bed and feed you and stuff like that. And bless you. Thank you, Neil. And Brian thanks you as well. You are Brian's saviour. Oh, dear, dear, dear. It's not kicking off. We haven't started yet. God. If you would put us up for the night, that would be amazing. Save me on hotels. I've told you, Neil. I told you in that message the other day. I wasn't. It's yours. It is yours and Sophie's. You're more than welcome anytime at all. I'll put your name on the door. Right, you're just gonna have to read the comments and carry on the various arguments at another time. Yeah, okay, mate. That's brilliant. Um, yeah, right. God. Okay, read the comments, catch up with the various arguments, stroke opinions. I'm going to do another live at some point, hopefully, before Monday night. If not, I'll try and cover it all in the daily diaries. There's loads of stuff to talk about, loads of stuff to get excited about, especially the flat. The flat is the main thing. And it's totally you lot that have persuaded me that I should be looking at really making a massive change, taking a huge leap, and using that as a stepping stone to the next stage of things. And it's exciting that you lot will be potentially able to be a much bigger part of it. Because as much as I love dear old Windy Bum here, there's not much I can do. I've got a small spare bedroom with a double bed bunged in there, and Neil's got his name on that. Whereas in the flat, I mean, the possibilities would be, oh, so much more. So, Thursday night's all right for fighting. Video title. Excellent. Don't forget to click the unlike button. Right, okay, I'm going to bugger off. Darlings. Thank you so much for tonight. Oh, gosh. I'll catch up with you really soon. Don't forget, there is the Facebook group. Excuse me, and other stuff. And God. Yeah, that'll be it, Neil. That'll be the finishing touch. It'll be your snoring that tips them over the edge, and they'll come in and murder us. Night all. It's been real. Have a great weekend, all. Yeah. everybody, please have a fabulous weekend. I can't wait to catch up with you again. Sleep well tonight. Take great care of yourselves, and yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Oh, there's loads of stuff that I haven't told you about. I'll do it in the diaries. I'll do it in the diaries, and hopefully by the time we catch up next, there'll be even more to talk about. Barney was brilliant tonight with his new battery. Thank you, Tanya Batteries, or Tanya's Batteries. And I'm really looking forward to getting back to the yard next Monday and having a yard day and being miserable and cold and having a really nice lunch in Roger Boaty. Oh God, yeah. Next Monday we are moving Roger Boaty, and that's going to be worth watching. So do tune in for Monday Night Live and I'll tell you all about it. But that is the plan for Monday. More than a plan, that is the firm objective. Mustard and I and Fred the Shed, God, we are going to be moving Roger Boaty into his permanent place of dwelling, and God help us, that's all I can say. All right, darlings, much love to you all. Thank you so much, and stay safe, stay warm, take care of yourselves. Catch you next time.